Hi, how are you? I'm kind of going to go in the other direction and tell you how you can accomplish a lot in just a little bit of time. So, using your buttons, using all of your buttons, so don't smash them quite yet. I am Ben Rigby, CTO and co-founder of the Extraordinaries, creators of Spark.com. So if you were to turn to the person next to you right now and ask them if they volunteered, chances would be that they would say, you know what, I would love to volunteer, but I simply don't have the time. And the reasons for this are obvious. We lead crazy, hectic, busy lifestyles. We don't even have enough time for our family and friends. Our schedules are booked to the gills. And yet, we spend 24 million hours playing online solitaire. Online solitaire. We spend 388 million hours on Facebook. And we watch 2 billion YouTube videos every single day. Not across the year, every single day. And this sounds like a lot of time. And it is. It's a tremendous, tremendous amount of time. So let me put it in context for you. In perspective, it took 7 million hours to build the Empire State Building. Now, if we were to add up all of the time that we spend on Facebook alone, we could build 55 Empire State Buildings every single day. It's phenomenal. Our spare time, our Facebook time, Empire State Buildings, we could do this. So rather than be discouraged, my colleagues and I were inspired by this. We were inspired by the idea that maybe we could fit volunteerism into the kind of time that we're spending on Facebook and MySpace and Twitter and so forth. And we asked ourselves, what would that look like? What would volunteerism look like if we could fit it into those little moments in our day? And we came up with a name, which you see here behind me, microvolunteerism. Micro because it's small, volunteerism because it's volunteerism, and then we came up with a theory. First, we had to make volunteerism more convenient. We had to deliver it to you on the devices which were already in your pocket and in front of you at work, your mobile phone and personal computer. Second, we had to take big projects and split them up into little pieces so that you could actually do something significant and fulfilling in that spare moment, in that little bit of time. Third, we needed to move from a hierarchical model of work management to a network model. Because if you imagine a typical nonprofit manager, and I went to them and I told them, listen, you have to manage 400,000 simultaneous projects with 30,000 people working at it at the same time, they would say, you're crazy, I can't manage that. And that's how the hierarchical model works, is you have one person managing 1, 2, 3, 5 people. But in a network model, you have the work distributed across the network. And you can ensure quality of work by using the nodes on the network to peer review the work coming through. So that was our theory. We came out with this, which is iteration number 1 of the Extraordinaries. You can see the iPhone app on the left and the website on the right. And the way it worked is, if you're sitting at a bus stop and you had 10 minutes to kill, you could bring up your phone and scroll through a list of opportunities and find one that you could do right there on the phone in that time. It wasn't a listing of volunteer opportunities. You couldn't read about what you could do. You could actually do it. So let's look at an example. This example, from the volunteer perspective, you look at an image. Here, in this case, it's a defibrillator, and you simply write what you see. Why is that important? Well, it turns out that if somebody, like say you're at an airport and somebody next to you has a heart attack, if you're trained in first response, you know 2 things. 1, you have about 10 minutes to resuscitate this person. 2, if you can find a defibrillator, their chances of survival shoot up through the roof to about 90% from 10%. So First Aid Corps provides this data to first responders. They have an application on the phone that goes to trained first responders when somebody has a heart attack. So imagine you're a first responder and somebody has a heart attack, and you're looking, you have to find that defibrillator, and you're scrambling around the airport, and all you know is defibrillator is near Terminal 23. Well, if the volunteer has written, next to a phone has a red sign above it, your chances of finding it go up. Right? So you as a volunteer, you've just been sitting at your desk, you spent 20 seconds, and here you are saving lives or helping to save lives. Of course, the actual first responder is saving the life, but you are helping them in your 10 minutes of spare time. So in January of this year, as you know, the devastating Haiti earthquake hit, and our team tried to imagine, how could we use microvolunteerism to help with the relief efforts? you might have given $10 through the, there was this text message, give $10 or donate it to the Red Cross. And we were trying to imagine what would it look like if you could do more than just give money? What would it look like if you could give some of your time? So we came up with this idea. It was just kind of an experiment. What if we could use tens of thousands of volunteer eyes to look for people who are missing? So on the left, you see an image from the missing persons database. Google had a wonderful database where they listed all missing people. And on the right, you see a random image pulled in from the news imagery that was coming out of Haiti. There were tens of thousands of images that were just streaming out of Haiti, and nobody knew what was in them. So you as a volunteer would sit there, kind of adopt the person on the left, and scroll through the news imagery on the right looking for that person. So we thought, this is a cool idea. It's probably going to take, I don't know, weeks for anything interesting to happen. Within 14 hours, this happened. This is Mama Lupe on the left from Missing Persons Database. And here was an image submitted by a volunteer within 14 hours of us launching this system. This is Mama Lupe being pulled from the wreckage. We contacted Mama Lupe's family, and they said, that's her. You found her. We were pretty astounded. And again, this was the first of many matches that came through. There was one problem, though. And some of you engineers in the crowd might be familiar with this, and I'll take responsibility for this. We had over-engineered the system. The problem was when we went to most nonprofits and we said, hey, we're going to take your big projects, and we're going to break them up into all these little pieces. It's going to be this amazing, amazing thing, and it's fantastic. They said, well, I have a budget that I got to do, and I need to go fundraise, and I need a translation, I need some logo design. What can you do? And I was like, well, you need an image tagger or a mapper. You need all these tools we need to build. And they said, listen, that's not what we need. So we did one of the most painful things that I've done in recent history, and we threw away iteration number 1, and we rebuilt it from the ground up by going out and talking to nonprofits and understanding what their needs were. And we launched 4 months ago this, which is called Sparked. It used to be called Extraordinaries, and nobody could spell that. You could see the introduction was wrong on the name. We never say it right or could spell it either, so we renamed it Sparked. And this is how it works. If you're a nonprofit and you have a need, you simply type it. You say, I need someone to design a logo. I need someone to review my mobile phone strategy because I don't know what I'm doing. That network, that request gets distributed into the network and finds a volunteer who can do it. We have volunteers sign on. They tell us what they're good at and what they're interested in. So let's see some examples. This is Marie. She works as part of a collective in Haiti that turns charcoal husks, coconut husks into charcoal. And she applied for a loan through Zafen, which is this amazing microfinance institution, a loan for about $1,200 to buy some new equipment to expand her business. And Zafen said, well, you know what? When we translate these loan applications into Spanish or other languages like French, the chances of them getting funded dramatically go up. But we don't have the money to do this. So they turned to us, and they said, can you translate this loan application? Well, it turns out there are a bunch of people on the system who already speak Spanish, and she got a translation back in about 2 days. She posted it on the site, and Marie's loan was funded, and now Marie hires about 50 Haitian entrepreneurs to help her in this collective. It's a tremendous result. And for you as a volunteer, all you would have to know is how to speak Spanish, and take 20 minutes to an hour of your time, maybe on your lunch break, to make it happen. This little cute kid, his name is Wyatt, and he hangs out in front of this table in Portland, Oregon, as part of the Surfrider campaign. He's a volunteer, as is his father, and he wanders out into the crowds and tries to lure in adults because he's so damn cute. And he used to hand out Xerox copies. He used to say, here, come do our beach cleanup with us. And Surfrider posted this request in the system. They said, we would like to redesign these Xerox copies and hand out business cards that look professional and make people think that it's going to be fun. So they posted this request onto the system, and within about 3 days, they had 5 designers, actually. This one went crazy. Designers were like, take mine, take mine, take mine, take mine. So they have a new business card now that they hand out, and Wyatt has a much more effective tool to go recruit adults to do the beach cleanup. In the middle here, you see a man named Jackson. He is a Maasai warrior who lives in Amboseli, Kenya. And he grew tired of watching his relatives walk about 8 kilometers and back to get water every day. And through a nonprofit that works in his region, he posted this request to the system. Can you help me figure out how to dig a well? I don't know where to begin. Can you help me? Well, it just so turns out that there was somebody on the system who had listed third world water as his area of expertise. His name was Mark. I think he'd done the Peace Corps in the area many years before. And he actually knew somebody, knew a nonprofit who dug wells in Jackson's area of Emboseli, Kenya. And he made the connection, simple matter of expertise connection. And now Jackson is on the way to digging this well in his village and bringing water to all of his relatives. Amazing. Can you imagine that? This Mark took literally 5 minutes. He said, oh yeah, I know someone who drills in that area. 5 minutes, and he's changing the lives of people in this village. So this is my dream, and I hope you can dream with me for a little bit. But imagine a worldwide network where a nonprofit can post a request into the system, and it pings around the world. It pings around the world looking for somebody who has the interest in the cause and the skills to do the request. Imagine that for a moment. Imagine if this system went to scale. Imagine if there were enough people in the system such that any request was answered. Now, if you're working at a nonprofit, or if you know people who work at a nonprofit, you know these people who work there. They dedicate their lives. They dedicate their lives to a cause. And they never have money. They never have resources. So they're always running around like chickens with their heads cut off. And here we could have a system where anything they ask for could be done. Now, to me, that's magic. And we think that magic number of reaching that capacity is 25 million people. And this is not a lot of people. The most popular game on Facebook right now is called Farmville, where you tend a virtual farm. 70 million people play that every day. And we don't want to replace Farmville. We love Farmville. We think it's a great distraction. I love doing it. It's fun. But instead of tending the virtual crop, maybe one day a week, if you could spend that time helping somebody who's tending real crops or digging a real well, it could prove transformational in the social sector. We would add capacity such that capacity in the sector would rise about 1,000x. So I hope you'll join me in this effort and sign on and become microvolunteers. Thanks.